Okay, so the first thing I want to do is make sure that I can hear myself, and then we'll see what's going on from there. Okay, there I was. All right, so I can hear me. Wonderful, amazing. I'm a little late. I was having some technical difficulties, so I'm about a little late. If this one goes anything like last time, there won't be anybody here anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But you guys can watch this back and have a nice little view of my discussion about WINDWITCH. So let's give it like a minute, see if anybody hops on now that the tweets went out and all that stuff. Me tweet which tweet. So there's that. And let me go back to where I can see myself. There I am. Hi, me. Okay. So essentially, today's chat is to talk about WINDWITCH, which is the second book in the which the series name? Who knows? In the Witchland series by Susan Dennard. Holy cannoli. That was great. It was fun. So if you haven't read Truthwitch yet, then you probably shouldn't be here because there's probably going to be some Truthwitch spoilers at least. Maybe some WINDWITCH spoilers, but especially some Truthwitch spoilers because I'm talking about the book and it's the second book. So there's that. If you haven't read Truthwitch, PC later, but also come back later once you have. Okay, bye. So, I know it's like super awkward. I'm not used to doing these by myself. I'm used to having someone to talk to, or at least have, you know, like something going on in the chat, which is not happening. I'm used to doing these more for live write-ins than for book discussions, but it was just something that I wanted to try, that I'm not sure that I'm great at, but I am trying to expand things and do new things, and so this is something that I wanted to do for me and for all of you. If you are watching this back and you're here for the Bloodwitch giveaway, the link for that is in the description box. It will be live from midnight tonight to, I believe, midnight on New Year's Eve. So like, I think it's open for 48 hours. Last time I had it open for 24 hours. I think it's open for 48 hours now. I did not do a video of the original winner because I filmed it, but I filmed it with my new camera, and at some point I lost the footage, but I have contacted the winner of the original or of the first giveaway, and somewhere I wrote down her name, but obviously I'm failing at life today, so let me see if I can find that so that all of you will know who won. I know, I'm a mess. A mess. Contest winners. Annette. The winner of the first copy of Bloodwitch is Annette. And as I said, I have already reached out to her. I filmed it, but I lost the footage. So, yeah. That's what happens when you're learning how to use a DSLR when you're used to a potato can. So, in my defense, I used to take photography classes in high school, and we used like the giant cameras, but I'm really old, so we didn't have anything digital back then. So it's a learning experience. Anyway, what you came here for. So basically, I just wrote down some questions and kind of my answers about the book and how I feel about it. And if there was anybody here in the chat, I would ask your opinions, but there's no one here. So, hey, oh well, sucks to be you. You can't give me your opinion, except you can, because you can leave it down below in the comment section. So, do that. The first question is, what was your first reaction to the book? How did it feel when you were reading it? Did you enjoy it? Did it take you time to get into it? Etc. Etc. For me, because this was the second book in the series, it was really easy to get into it, and it was like action from the beginning. Plus, it was Merrick, and I love Merrick. I feel like from where I've been on the internet and like what I've done looking around, out of like the four main characters, I think Merrick is the least liked of the four. But I really enjoy Merrick. I think that he's a really fun character. So I don't know if I'm alone in that stance that like Merrick's my favorite, but Merrick's my favorite. So now that you know that. My second question was, how do you feel about the world building? I have discussed this many times before about the world building and Suze's writing, and I absolutely love the world building. It is like A++ world building for me. Just the different languages and the maps and the places where everyone lives and the different types of creatures and the different cities and the hierarchy, the kingdoms, the governments, it's just so much stuff. She must have like a stack of information that's like this thick. I mean, as someone who writes, who has like their own made up world, I know how much work goes into a good developed world, and it blows my mind. Some of the best world building I have ever read, ever. So I think that is probably what kept me reading this series, because if you've watched my discussion of the first book or read my review, which I linked all of my reviews down below as well, I found the first book to be a little predictable as far as foreshadowing. There we go. Not that it was predictable in a sense that I knew what was going to happen because it was something that always happens in books like that, but because I felt like she was a little heavy-handed in foreshadowing, which I didn't feel like that with this book. But it was, in the first book, it was just like I kind of knew what was going to happen next just because of everything that she had set up. Since then, oh my God, crazy. Like the things that I have learned as I have went along has just been insane. So much stuff that I didn't realize, but I mean, I came for the magic, and I stayed for the world building and the sea battles and the characters. So she's doing something right. Okay. Let's see, what's the next question I wrote down? Who do you think is most changed out of the characters? In my original review, I wrote that I felt like Merrick was the most changed of the characters. Probably because Merrick is the main focus of the book, because it's called WINDWITCH and Merrick's the WINDWITCH. But through my read along and my reread, I guess I should say, I kind of felt like Adwin was more changed throughout the story. I feel like just like where he started to where he ended, was a very different level. But again, was that because you just get to see more of who he really is, or if he's like more comfortable with himself, so you're seeing more of him come forward? I'm not really sure, but I definitely think that throughout the process of this book, all of the characters change a lot. They all have so many different little nuances and things that happen to them. Um, oh, excuse me. You have Merrick, who, finds his sister, goes through learning that what has happened to his thread brother, who figures out that maybe his sister isn't as bad as he thought she was. He discovers that maybe he's not even really alive. And so he has those changes to himself. And you have Adwin, who learns that the world isn't necessarily the way that he has seen it, and that there are things going on, and he meets this child that reminds him of himself, and it makes him change as well. And you have Iz, who basically uses magic that she didn't know that she possessed to kill someone to save Adwin. And so that changes her as well, because she realizes that she does have this dark power inside of her that she never really thought that she had, or never really knew that she had. And when she uses that, she wonders, if it's going to take over her life, and if she'll become like Esme, who is the one person that she knows that also has that power. And you have Safi, who lives through a boat catching on fire and is saved by someone that she technically would consider an enemy at that point. And then learning more about the Hellbards, which to me is changing for her, because she learns more about her uncle that way. And she's already had her perspective flipped on her uncle at the end of Truthwitch. I think it goes even further into that. The more she learns about the Hellbards, I think the more that she learns about her uncle. And I think that makes her life switch a little. And then the escape from the cells of the arena, I think also dealing with the Flamehawk and with the prisoners and things like that, I think that changes her perspective of the world a lot as well. So, who do I think is least changed in this book? I think the least changed character that we see a perspective of from this book is Vivia. And it's interesting because our perception of Vivia changes the most. We go from thinking that Vivia is like this faceless villain to realizing that Vivia is very much like her brother and wants what's best for New Brevna, but she also wants to do what's best and impress her father. And those two things don't necessarily always coincide. And so she has to decide what's going to be best for everyone out there, while also working to make sure that she can live with the decisions that she makes. And that's, why her mantra is always move forward, no regrets, move forward, no regrets, because she knows that she has to keep moving and doing what she's doing, and she can't look back and regret what she's done, because she's not going to get anywhere if she does. And I feel like that is the same for Vivia, both in Truthwitch and in WINDWITch. And so while our perspective of her changes, I feel like she stays very similar. Now, I've read a little bit of Bloodwitch. I've read the first 7 chapters of Bloodwitch via the, I'll remember, NetGalley. And if you are not already signed up to Susan's, oh my gosh, the English language. If you are not already signed up to Susan's mailing list, you can do that. And in her most recent newsletters, there is a link to read the first 7 chapters of Bloodwitch, which I recommend, obviously. But when you get into Bloodwitch, you start to see a little bit more change in Vivia. There's a chapter, a Vivia-focused chapter in that, and you start to see some change in Vivia as well. I think she changes during WINDWITch, but not necessarily as much as the other characters. So, the next question that I ask myself, what is your favorite thing about Suze's writing? I think my favorite thing about how she writes, other than her world building, because we've already discussed that, is her ability to weave plot lines together. Like from the from the upside down ship that we see in New Brevna more than in one book, we see it twice, to the hints of the lines from Eurydice's Lament throughout both Truthwitch and WINDWITCH, and the things that we see that start to come true throughout the series. Just the way that she's able to weave all of the threads together and make everything make sense. And you get little bits and pieces here and there as you go on. Excuse me again. I have the hiccups. Very weird. I'm not sure how she keeps everything straight. I don't know how she knows what's coming next, what she needs to do next, what she needs to foreshadow, how to tie in X with A. I don't know how she does it. I would love to have that mastery, but it's just not something that I have. So there's that. But it is one of my favorite things. I love how she's able to weave everything together and to make just these little nuggets of story. And to me, it's very much like, there's not a lot of books that I want to reread. A lot of books, you read them and you pretty much, you get everything. A to Z, you got it all. You read it the one time, you understood everything. There are a few books that I always want to reread. Harry Potter is one of them, because every time you read it, you see something you didn't see before. And I 100% feel like the Witchland series is one of those type of books. Every time you reread it, you're going to see something that you didn't see before. And that's kind of what I've been going through during this reread, is seeing things that I didn't know were important. Things that, the first time you read, you were just like, whatever. And then as you've read 2 books after that, like when I was reading Truthwitch, I had already read WINDWITCH and Sightwitch at some point. But you're going back through and you're like, oh, this ties into that one part in Sightwitch. And oh, this ties into that one point, or this one part in WINDWITCH. And it's just very, I don't even know the word that I'm looking for. It's amazing how she's able to tie all of those things together and make all of that stuff make sense. And I'm super jealous of that. I wish I could do that, but I can't. So that is definitely one of my favorite parts about her writing. The next question is, how do you feel about the direction of the plot? Well, let me read my little note here. What did I answer that earlier? So, as I said, I have read the first 7 chapters of Bloodwitch. The chapter 7 reveal blew my mind. Like, some part of me felt like the story was kind of maybe going in that direction, but I never really guessed that it would go completely there. It definitely was definitely not what I was expecting. I mean, I was expecting something big, but not necessarily that. So, I'm very excited about where the plot is going. I'm very excited to learn more about the characters and how everything's just going to kind of fall together. There are characters that we didn't see in WINDWITCH or Sightwitch, like Prince Polly and Matthew and Habim and Safi's uncle, and I can't think of his name right now. I never can. Characters that we haven't seen for the last 2 books. So I'm excited to see them again and learn what they've been doing while everything else has been going on. Excited to see a lot of different things that are coming up in the story. We know that there's, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure we've been told that there are at least 2 more books. She has said that she can't tell us how many more books there are in the series. She's not allowed to do that at this point. But I'm pretty sure there's at least 2 more. So there's plenty of room for plot, especially the way that she weaves plot in. There's plenty more room for plot. So I'm very interested to see kind of where everything goes and how it all makes itself work. I am especially interested in the villains because we kind of know what the aspirations of our main 5 characters are. I'll call it 5. In the first book, it's 4, but then we get Vivia. So we get the main point, the plot of the main 5 characters. We know kind of what they want, what they're going for, what's happening to them. We get that. But the villains, because they're so different, like Esme's kind of dark, but is Esme really in control of herself? Is she really doing what she wants to do, or is she doing what someone else wants her to do? Corlant, everyone thinks he's a dick. No one likes that guy. He can get out of here. And then the Raider King, is that his title? I don't remember. I've read too much lately, and my brain just went. Anyway, we don't really know what he wants either, other than money, because he's got Aedwin obsessed with money. But so it's interesting to try to figure out like what the villains' arcs are. It's almost like they're not even really villains to the point that, I mean, Corlant, yes, but it's more like they're villains in the aspect that they just are making things hard for the main 5 characters. Not that they're necessarily like the thing that people have to beat. It's all very weird. It's very strange. For a girl who loves villains, that'd be me. I'm very interested to see where all of that goes because I just don't know where it's going and I want to know. I think that was all the notes that I took. Yeah. This is the part in the conversation where I'd ask you guys if you have any thoughts or questions. But I'm just talking to myself, so I can't do that. But if you have any thoughts or questions, put them in the comment section below later when you're watching back, because the last one had about 75 views afterwards. Just nobody was here when we were live. And it was also easier before because Vanessa was here and I was able to talk to Vanessa and it was kind of like an actual conversation. Whereas today is just kind of like a really long review. I don't know. So I think that is all I have that I really want to talk about with the book. Like I said, I'm very interested to see where things are going forward. I'm super interested in finally getting my hands on Bloodwitch. I'm all for it. My biggest issue is that I'm actually going on vacation the first 2 weeks of February. And so I won't be home when my pre-orders show up because I pre-ordered it twice already because I'm awesome. I pre-ordered it from Amazon and then pre-ordered I think it's Owl Crate. Is it Owl Crate or Fake Crate? It's one of those crates. I can't remember. I'll link it down below later. Has a recovery kit and it comes with the book and with some goodies. And I ordered that as well. It's a pre-order. I could cancel my pre-order from Amazon if I really wanted to, but I don't want to. Technically, I've pre-ordered 3 copies because I also have pre-ordered a copy for a contest winner. So there's that. Anyway. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing like where the plot goes, where everything goes, trying to figure out the villains. I'm also excited to reread Sightwitch next month. There will be some changes to the live show for Sightwitch because it originally should be happening on like the 2nd of February and I will be in Florida. So I did not know that I was going on vacation, nor did I plan the vacation. So I'm just like at the mercy of my mother who planned a vacation. So I will probably just have that live show a couple of days early rather than after February 2nd. Yeah. But I'll let you guys know more of that later because I haven't set a date for it anyway. But it will be a little different because it'll be before the end of the read-along rather than after, because I didn't want to wait 2 weeks after because then that would be silly because that would be when Bloodwitch was out. And I also will be reading Bloodwitch when I get home. I might even buy a digital copy so I can read it while I'm gone. I might buy it 3 times. Who knows? And I will do a full review video for that, and I will be doing a discussion video for that probably like the first week of March, which I'll let you guys know later on. So again, if you're here and you're interested in the contest, it's down below in the description box, along with read-along dates for Sightwitch, which doesn't really matter anymore because it's the only one that's left, and some other links and things are down there because I just love to shove all kinds of stuff down in the description box. That's what it's there for. So it's fun. And again, let me know how you guys feel about this book in the comment section down below. That is all I have for today. I don't really have anything else to talk about, so I guess I will peace out of here. I will see you guys next time.